What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of HVAC R&D with Rhydon and Dennis. I'm Rhydon. D's on the other line, and thanks for joining us again. Our last episode we had a lot of fun with Zach, so we're gonna dive into that for just a few minutes once we get started. But what we really are going to focus on today is Dennis Wilkins' 2020 field report. I guess I should have said your last name, should I? Who cares?
You're good.
Another good bleep sound effect coming up soon. But we just kind of want to talk about Dennis's life as a tech guy in 2020 and some of the crazy things he's seen this year. So without further ado, kick that good intro, D.
All right, what's up, everybody? So, as Ryan said, we'll touch on Zach a little bit. Talk about we had fun with Zach. I think he had a good time on the show. Sound like he did.
I thought so.
Also, I want to get into kind of talk a little bit about what I've seen this year as a tech guy. Last year was my first year. Had quite a few experiences here lately in the field for job site visits. I wanted to touch on stuff that's kind of surprised me here lately. Also, what have you had going on this week? Anything interesting?
A little bit of everything. I know the last couple of weeks it's been the first time really that I've almost felt like a lot of my job is back to normal. Last week was the first week I filled my car up 3 times in a week, and I don't know when. So I at least know, if anything, I'm spending more time on the road. Even if it's just putting out fires, it's nice to not be stuck behind a desk as much as we were earlier this year, and starting to really try to push and get things prepped, help guys get ready for winter service season and so on and so forth. We've got some cool things coming out in the company that I'm hoping will let us be able to start taking advantage of some different things this fall with some guys. So there's some things I'm really excited about, and hopefully we will have a winner this year, since I really feel like we haven't the last 2.
Yeah, we got the. Is it a website or is it just an app or is it both?
Both. And there's a lot of it that's still getting finished. I know I've been able to see a little bit of a peek behind the curtain this week. I've got some things to work on with a couple of customers that we're kind of using as guinea pigs to just test out a few things and see how they like it, see if there's anything that we need to tweak and do differently. But altogether, something that really we wanted to have out earlier this year, but once again, HVAC of the pandemic. Refer back to that episode if you want some other interesting tidbits about what we went through this year in wholesale. But it's kind of nice to start seeing at least a lot of things get back to normal.
Yeah, we got of course my training is kicked in there full bore now. I was going to touch on a few things with that. I'm having good turnouts. Everybody likes the hands-on. So far so good on that. Of course, the different times during the day, I think that's working out okay. I didn't know if that would, a lot of guys don't know if they want to do a 12 to 2 in the middle of the day. For some reason in HVAC, we just cannot schedule anything in the middle of the day or at all.
I'll admit, though, not trying to cut you off.
So far, so good, though.
Yeah, I think so far so good, because with it being 2 hours, it's almost like, they're kind of scheduling them for a long service call. So
Right.
you're not pulling them completely away from everything during the day. And, if they know they have a 12 o'clock slot by the branch, depending on what calls they've got to run that day, they can kind of set the calls, at least if possible, in order of getting them closer to the branch and then working home once they're done.
Right. Yeah, I've had some young guys, man. I was up in Kernersville this week, and of course, it's an install startup class for just a heat pump. And this whole week has been, except for two guys, most of them have been in their early 20s, early to mid 20s, which that's cool. Getting some guys getting in there, but yeah, it's kind of crazy what I see now as a tech guy, right? So,
Well,
when I was
speaking
in
of
the
that,
field, yeah,
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
as you're saying, what you saw in the field. So take us from kind of what you saw in the field and put that in context of, what did you expect being a technical rep on this side of the business would be based on your field experience before? Like, what did you see coming?
Well, I didn't really know. I when I was in the field, I called a tech guy here and there, and they just kind of talk you through stuff. It's the vibe that I got was usually just like if you were calling, if your cable's out, right? You call the guy and did you unplug it? Did you plug it back in? Um, I mean, that was the gist of it. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. I knew it was going to be something like that. Of course, they told me it involved training too, which I had never done. But I thought I could figure it out, So the going from the field, I don't know. I did notice, and I try not to beat guys up, and I know a lot of tech guys will. When you're in the field, people on the tech support side think you're supposed to just constantly read manuals, watch videos, taking training classes. But when you're in the field, it's just a whirlwind, man. In the summer, of course, there's zero time in the summer, and then you get into the fall, and then depending on what size company you work for, oh, we're slow, we can't afford to send you to training, we can't pay you today because we can't just pay you to go sit in the class all day and then go home. And like I said, it depends on the size of the company you work for. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know really what it was going to be like, but once I got on this side, of course, you expect the crazy calls, right? You expect the when guys call you, it's like it's DEFCON 5, right? And everybody's done tried to fix it.
Yep.
They're lost, which I get those quite often. But yeah, I didn't really.
Did you ever think, like, I know when I came into this 10 years ago now, which is crazy to even think it's been that long, I looked at it as, I know, it'll be 10 years in March. It's kind of crazy. I remember dealing with salespeople, when I was working in my family's business before. And I remember there were a lot of times where I really wished I had known more about a product, or I wish I'd known where to find more information. I wish I'd had a sales rep that I felt, really was more focused on helping us do more than just, waiting for us to call him with an order.
Right.
So when I came into this side, my expectation was I was going to be the sales guy that I had always wanted.
Right.
I wanted to be that guy. So, from your perspective, were you, you came in, wanting to be, more proactive with how you did training, how you did different things. Like, what did you discover about how those are what you wanted to do, but maybe they weren't as easy as you wanted them to be, or maybe there were things you had to figure out how to do different than you expected to do them.
Yeah, so when I came in, the guy that I replaced, he didn't really believe in training, right? He kind of just sat behind the laptop, and of course, you grew up with the guy, right? So
Yeah.
he sat behind the laptop and he'd get through the slides, and you either read it, follow along, get what you get, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And moving on, and then next thing you know, you can't fill up a training class. Everybody's canceling. So yeah, I said, well, man, we got to change that. My idea when I was going to start, when I came in, and he said, you got to set up, the first year of training. Of course, you helped me a lot with that, but is standing up, right, interacting with the class, trying to, because I've been to them classes, right? I've sat on the other side and it's just boring as hell. But I said, I can't do that. You know what I mean? I gotta try something different. Build some training boards. I don't know why, as tech guys and training guys, we can't keep it the same as if these guys are in school or getting it, right? Like, why can't we have training boards?
Yeah.
I mean, why can't we have running equipment that guys can come by and put their hands on and work on it? And it sounds pretty simple, but I just don't think nobody's doing that. So that was my deal, was to come in and try to do that. Also, so this kind of bites me sometimes. Like I said, I was going to, constantly pick up the phone. It is just my cell phone. So I wasn't going to be that guy, right? Because I hate when you're on the job and you call and you leave a message and they call you back 4 hours later and you're on the next call.
Yep.
It's like, I can't talk to you about that job now, right? I mean, yeah. I'm already gone. So, I mean, in the summertime, it's hard. It really is. And I know some tech support guys that have 20 and 30 branches. Like, they work for larger distributors than us.
I couldn't imagine that.
I mean, I don't know how they couldn't. So the ones that I know, right, they're based out of Florida. They can't train. Like, he can't do training because his phone literally never stops ringing. Yeah. And I don't know how he can keep a good attitude. I'll be honest with you. I also said, I wasn't ever going to get mad on the phone with guys. I tell guys in class, there's not a stupid question, right? I mean, I get calls from 70-year-old men that ask questions, and they've been doing this 40 years. They should know questions they really should know. But they've learned, they did something wrong for 40 years, right? They thought it worked a certain way for a long time. And I'm really seeing a lot more of that. Because, I mean, this new generation of people coming through learn from those guys who learn from those guys. It just keeps rolling downhill.
And that always makes me think about when we did a class last year, and it was a mini split class, and one of the things we were talking about was, the importance of using a torque wrench.
Right. A what?
Exactly, a torque wrench. And the biggest thing is, this guy was like bound and determined that he could torque this thing down, as tight as he could with, 2 crescent wrenches as he could with a torque wrench to know, and he would know exactly where he'd gotten it to. So he sat there, and this guy sat there and he cranked these 2 flares together, and then we put a torque wrench on it, and it was nowhere near what it actually needed to be. And he's like, well, I guess that's why I was leaking.
That's why I was leaking.
But it's one of those, until you actually see it or can measure it, you never know you're not doing it right. And it's no knock on those guys. I mean, there's a reason they've been in this business so long and they've been successful, is because, in most cases, they're doing everything right. But
Well, and
if
so that
it doesn't matter how
that
old
takes
you are, you
me.
can learn something new.
Oh yeah, man, I'm learning every day. So my latest thing I keep running into is, and this happened today and last week. Seems to be the same town. Is power issues coming from the power company side, coming from the meter.
Yep.
So, like I said, this literally happened today. This is the kind of contractors that we're dealing with out there, and this is when you get on this side of the industry, it's tough. When this happens to you day in, day out, you just wonder, is there any decent contractors left? Like, it's hard, man. I mean, I didn't realize how many were out there that are just flying by the seat of their pants. But so this guy, somebody was running a water line in the neighborhood, and they hit a power line that was mismarked, an underground.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, main line coming from a transformer.
Guess they didn't call 811.
Yeah, what is it? What's the?
And the 811 you always see on all the, like, you see the trucks driving around, like, call 811.
Yeah, when they
and they're
come out
always
and
out
mark
there
it.
with the little spray can thing they're pushing along with the
Yeah,
wheel.
maybe they marked it, maybe they didn't.
You know.
But so this guy, his AC is running now. Like I said, when they hit this line, it knocked out 4 or 5 houses in the neighborhood. So if your AC was running when this happened, or whatever, anything 240 or whatever that was running and pulling, quite a bit of amps, it fried it. Like, that's just what happened. So this guy's got a 3.5 ton AC, 3 years old, been working like a champ. His power goes out, lights flicker, all this stuff. They get it repaired. Everything comes back on but the AC. So he calls the guy, they got the equipment from us. He calls him out, big subdivision. And he goes out there, confirms there's a short in the compressor, obviously, and changes the capacitor in the compressor. Now, I'll give him that one, right? It was just like a power surge. Changes that. Plugs the disconnect in. It trips the breaker. He's like, huh. So then he calls me, and I said, well, we go through the wiring. He said, I mean, it's a straight AC. There's not a whole lot going on there.
Yep.
We go through the wiring. The wiring's good. We check his, we ohm out his compressor, and there's a winding open. When you put that disconnect in, whatever's going on with the power fried the compressor, like instantly, the brand new one. So I said, man, something's going on with the power. He said, you don't think this compressor's bad out of the box? No, I don't. Oh, and his outdoor fan motor won't run either.
Yeah, that right there is like, well, if nothing's
that's a
running,
red flag. So he puts, of course, he didn't tell me this. I said, man, you need to get the power company out there, an electrician, and check on the line going to the panel. Something's off. Something's amiss. I mean, you had a surge, right? Something's melted somewhere. He changes the disconnect, puts another compressor in it, changes the breaker, flips it on, shorts the compressor out. That's number 3. Calls me and says, now the fan motor's running, but the compressor, this one's shorted out too. And I'm like,
this one?
No, it wasn't shorted out like till you put power to it. So I go out there today, and because the homeowner's pissed. First of all, nobody wanted to run that through an insurance claim. I mean, somebody hit a power line
Yeah.
and took out your AC. Like, why is our contractor over there just throwing compressors at it? Like,
Yep.
it's an insurance claim of some kind. I mean, y'all are the insurance guys, not me. I mean, I don't know. Oh, that was life insurance. Sorry.
That was life insurance. I don't. I
That
don't have.
compressor
I don't
needs
have
some
a.
life insurance.
I don't have a whole life policy for dead compressors.
So I go over there today, and I mean, this is a whole nother episode of homeowners. Like, I'm standing there with the homeowner and the contractor, and I told him, I said, I can only check so much with this meter I have. Like, I can't check out your disconnect. I mean, your meter. I cannot get into your panel. That's not my. I'm in this little unit here. This is me in this little box. I am not touching the rest of that stuff, and he shouldn't either. So I said, I think it's from here to the panel. And of course, the contractor looks at me and says, well, we got to do something. I'm like, what do you want to do? You want to put another compressor in it? I mean, we can't just keep doing that. That's not fixing it. That's not working. And the homeowner says, well, you don't think that those were bad out of the box?
There's that many in a row? Come on.
No.
These
are Copeland compressors.
Yeah, I could see one in a blue moon bad out of the box, but 3 going on.
I don't think I've ever even had one bad out of the box, but that doesn't mean they can't, ship one with a bad winding in it.
Correct.
I don't know, but I've seen. I'll give him the bad fan motor out of the box. I've had that. I mean, that's fine. A little tight or something. Won't spin. But this homeowner says, well, what am I supposed to tell my wife? I'm like,
have you not talked to her about it yet?
I just don't care about. Like, it's 72 degrees out here. Why aren't your windows open?
Yeah.
Like, storing heat in your house right now. Like, open the windows. It's cooler out here than it is in your house. Yeah, the homeowners, dude, are just ridiculous now. Like, I'm glad I'm out of the field. And contractors are having trouble talking to them. Well, we've had this, you've had a couple contractors that you're the contractor. You are the professional.
Yeah.
Whether you suck at it or not, you're the professional. You tell them what we're trying to do. I said, look, man, I understand. Sorry you don't have any air, but this isn't a toaster that we just unplug and throw it in the trash and plug another one up. Like, we can't just keep doing that.
Man, the whole time this homeowner's like, good thing these guys aren't lumberjacks. The only thing safe in the woods would be the trees.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Oh man, I said, what do you guys think? Y'all think we should put another compressor in it? And they're just like, I'm not answering that.
Well, that's
like, right. We're not.
That whole story. And if there's more to it, we can continue. But it's making me segue into another story that I want to save for our crazy homeowner episode too. Because I know we were talking about maybe even doing one of those as our next episode, so look forward to that also, but I'm sure you'll get some more in this one.
I got a few of those.
We all do. But I remember we had power issues at a job at the beach one time last year, and then you also ran into a power issue on a package unit in Charlotte. That was kind of crazy to see too.
So that was the same thing, right? So,
yeah.
15-ton package unit, or whatever it was, 15 ton. Tripping the breaker, 3-phase unit. They said, we changed the breaker, it's the unit. We need to change the unit. Like, this is a 15-ton unit, right? This is downtown on a street that has no room. I'm like, we might let's look at this a little harder before we get a crane down here.
Yeah.
And just somebody just eats a 15-ton unit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not an easy one to swallow.
That's the other myth.
No matter how hard you chew it.
Right. That's the other thing on this side of the industry. Which when I was in the field, right, I don't remember swapping a unit. I remember, well, I'll take that back. We swapped one inverter. We had a compressor that got hit with a surge, and it was under the warranty where you swap the unit.
Yeah.
So, because it hit this guy's gate and all this stuff. So we swapped the unit, and that was a 2-minute tech call. We ohmed the compressor out over the phone. He said, "Yeah, you're dead." So the 15-ton, right? So I've got my meter, I got my amp clamp on there, and I'm reading half of what the unit is maxing out at, right? I'm reading low amps. We're sitting there. I've got my amp clamp at the panel on the wire. The wire's cold. The unit's running. The breakers gets hot all of a sudden and trips. And my amp draw never moves. It's just low and steady. And I said, dude, it's not the unit. It can't be. It's impossible. It never peaks. The amp draw never goes up.
Yeah.
They changed the breaker 3 times. Right? So electrician's like, it's the unit. And I'm like, no, it's not. How is it the unit? At what point does this unit go up? The wire's cold, and this breaker, you can't even touch it.
Yeah.
And I said, so the power company, we finally get them out. The power company comes out, puts something on there to monitor something. The problem just goes away.
Yeah, because they
either turn the transformer down or something. So, I told this homeowner today, I said, you might want to get the power company out here and look at this, because I don't see any issues on my end. I mean, I have 3 parts in this unit.
Yeah.
It's an AC. So, he said, yeah, I called the power company, and they said the voltage is good out here.
Did they come out there and look? Probably not.
No. Well, no. See, they got digital meters now, and they just ping it.
Yeah.
Ping it from somewhere.
And at that exact moment, it might be great, but 5 minutes, it might not be.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with these calls like this. I mean, it is what it is. I just tell them it ain't the unit, but contractor gets mad, right? Because he acts like I'm not helping him. The homeowner's pissed. The new homeowner is kind of just, throw away and give me a new one.
Yeah.
They don't understand that we have to go through steps to try to figure out the problem. We got to fix the problem. So I don't know what this one's going to end up being.
Well,
we'll circle back.
The headache is we have contractors that get to that point too. It's like, they've went out there 6 different times, and they're calling me now, and they're calling me, the sales guy, first, because they'll call me first because they know that when it comes to hands-on technical speak, they know enough to get one over on me. I feel like they feel more comfortable because they know I'm decently technically minded, but that's just not how my brain's wired. No pun intended on that one.
Right.
But a lot of these guys, they call me because they're comfortable with me. They've known me a while. They know they can ask me a good bit of basic questions, and I have good understanding of how airflow works and things like that. But my one spot where I falter at times is understanding all my electrical components of things.
Right.
But there's a lot of times they call me, and they've been out there 6 times, and I'm like, hey man, I understand you're frustrated. You've been out there 6 times. And I said, but why are you only just now calling me?
Yeah, that's where that gets me.
And then, so they're calling me. They're already hot because they've been out there 6 times in the last 3 weeks, even though you didn't know about it. Homeowner's pissed, sending them videos of different things or saying different things. And then we got to still make another phone call because now we're on, phone call 7 for this guy, or, overall he's calling you.
Yeah, if he calls me and this is the 10th time he's going out there, I'm not gonna be able to reel this homeowner back in.
No, and it's difficult.
I mean, that's not going to be able to happen.
And it's even harder for you to try to, consult with them over what's been going on the phone, because at this point they're so familiar yet unfamiliar with the same problem that
right, they don't want to work on it.
They don't want to work on it. They just want it fixed. They want the problem solved, and they get frustrated because they've sometimes, in the heat of their frustration, they lose the sight of the fact that although it is their 10th visit to this job and they know it intimately, this is the first time you've heard about it. So if you don't ask questions, you don't know anything in any way to help them. Yep.
Yeah, so that we were talking about, what I was going to expect, doing troubleshooting over the phone. If any of y'all have never tried that, it's difficult. I call it a whole new trade. I use that term all the time. I kind of learn a whole new trade, because when you're talking to a guy that may have been working on something for an hour or 2 hours, he's done. Like, he's trapped in a little box. His mind does not want to get outside that box. So when I say, what's your voltage from here to here? And he just says, good. Or yeah, I checked that. What they don't realize is the less they tell me, the longer it's going to take.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that ego is a huge part of this. I mean, we're all men here, right? Like, when you have failed at something that you just thought you were awesome at, and now you got to call somebody and they got to talk you through something. That's what I'm trying to change. I try to let guys know in class, look, just call me. Like, I don't care if you can burn it up or short it out or make it leak, I've done it. Like,
yeah,
I have done it. So, there is no stupid question. I mean, that's how you learn. But, I got guys that call and say, look, man, I got a doozy. This is my 15th time out here, and I just can't figure this out. I'm like, dude, you can't call me now. I mean, you can, but
at this point, he wants you at the job the next day, and, middle of summer, that never happened. Training season, that's not going to happen. I mean, you have things that, and that's another thing we talk about, you don't see when you're in the field, the other things that on the wholesale side have to be done. I mean, if you were committed to going and training in another branch for 3 days in the middle of a week, you're out there. You were committed to there. And
oh yeah, this training, this type of training I'm doing Tuesday, Thursday, my phone's ringing and I feel terrible because I can't help them. I mean, I'm just dead. I'm out there training and I can't get to it. And usually I tell them, hey, if I don't answer, I'm training, but I'll leave a message. I'll call you back. And I get done training. I got 17 voicemails. I mean, I don't even know where to start. But yeah, I mean, that kind of takes me to, so speaking of site visits, this was a unique situation that I was put in. I don't think this has ever been done, actually. Of course, I was the first one, but
always.
So we got a company out in Raleigh that's good size, right? They got four change out crews, 5 or 6 service techs. I mean, they're a good size company, and a lot of callbacks. Obviously, we're not going to throw anybody's name out there, but they got a lot of callbacks on new equipment, and everybody wants to start blaming the brand, right? And I tell people, like, I would put any brand in my house. I know some guys would cry, hear me say that, but if I put it in, I would put any brand in my house. There's components that are going to fail, right? But it's if it's installed right, you should get some decent life.
Most if you do it right and you put it in right.
So this little trip I was taking was to oversee a couple of their changeouts and just like give them some tips, or they could ask me questions. I mean, super awkward because they knew I was coming. They did not know who I was. Why is this guy coming out? Like, what's wrong with what I'm doing? So I go out there. Luckily,
they don't know what to expect. You're like, am I getting a report card when this is over? Am I getting fired?
Yeah, I mean, right. So I show up. Of course, I got to tell the homeowner. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be wandering around. You're going to see me. I'm not going to be doing anything. I don't work for this company. We sell to them. I'm just hanging out, overseeing the job. Like, they're like, okay.
Yeah, and they're like, did we pay too much for this?
Yeah. What? I mean, it was just weird. It was weird as crap. And luckily, the installers were great. I was worried about that, but they were young guys, and they were like, "That's cool, man." I was like, "Look, I'm not going to try to stand over you too close, but I'm just kind of watching what you're doing." I didn't really tell them why I was there because I don't know if they knew. But the first crew I was with, come to find out, is the best one they got. They put the system in, right? Everything by the book. Brazed with nitrogen, whole 9 yards, literally attention to every detail. I was like, sweet. Of course, was he doing that because I was there? I don't know. But
and that's the risk
looked
you
fantastic.
Take. It's a risk you take in that situation. Everyone on their best behavior.
Oh yeah. So, this was a really small crawl with a furnace coil and an AC. So puts it in 70,000 BTU furnace, 3-ton system, or 75 and a 3-ton AC. So puts it in, buttons it all up in the crawl, comes out, shuts the door, turns the unit on, got his gauges connected to it. So we're going to charge it. He's going to charge it up.
Yep.
Well, the charging chart's on the back of the door on the unit. Well, the doors, everything's buttoned up. Like, there is no doors, there is no chart. He's looking at his gauges, and I'm just sitting there like, really short line set, probably 10 foot. And
we come pre-charged for 15, so you already know you got to log in.
Give or take. Yeah. So I said, what you looking for there? What you looking at? He's looking at his gauges. He's got some digital S-mans on there. He can look at subcool and everything. He's like, yeah, I'm just getting my subcool right. How are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, what is it supposed to be? He said, oh, it's just, between 7 and 15.
Between 7 and 15.
I'm like, no. And of course he's looking at superheat, and I said, do you know what subcool and superheat is? And he didn't know. He said, no, I just know it's right here on my gauges. I mean, he didn't know. He's an installer, right? And of course his helper didn't know. He's a cleanup guy. And I said, I'm going to go get some tools out of my bag. I'm going to show you a couple things. I said, we need to go back in the crawl and kind of look at our airflow. I said, we can't really check charge until we know we got really good airflow. So, of course, that's a whole nother episode. But we go in the crawl, right? And I can just hear this thing just huffing. Like, it's sucking hard for some air. And everything is shipped on high speed for cooling with our stuff. So it's got it's a 3-ton. It's got 3 tins. It's in a crawl, and they're going everywhere. The tins just disappear back in there in the mess somewhere.
Is this the crawl you sent me the picture of? Sorry to interrupt. I'm just curious for.
No, I don't think I took any pictures. I didn't. Believe it or not, I didn't take any pictures.
Okay. I thought you'd sent me a picture of one of those crawl spaces because it looked tight.
Oh yeah, this one was. Yeah, this was sitting on your butt, like your head touching the touching the floor there. So the 10-inch on the top was, I mean, they hung this thing in there on Unistrut and everything. Like, it looked awesome.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean, we never did that. We were putting it on some blocks. Yeah, they hung it with strut, like leaned it towards the drain. I mean, it was killer. So I said, I'm going to drill a hole in this return and in the furnace here, and we're going to check the static. And of course, he didn't know what that was. We got the blower. They didn't button everything up. We got the blower chart out. I put a manometer on there, and it's like 1.2.
That
so our
motor
static
would
was
not have made it very long. Was it constant torque or was it variable speed?
I think it actually. Yeah, it was constant torque.
That motor would not have made it.
No, and see that's the thing. Like,
that's why they're getting callbacks.
All these parts, yeah. I mean, they're not getting callbacks on because it looks bad. It's not. And see, that system would have. So, let's just say we take the door off outside and we were going to charge it by the charging chart. Well, that charging chart is based on a certain airflow.
Yep.
So, based on the outdoor size, 3-ton, we were looking at a certain number on there. So, we slowed it down. We didn't have any duct work, he had no way to fix that. So we slowed the blower down till we got a 0.7. So we were on the chart now, finally. It was either 0.7 or 0.8 was the end of the chart. So we finally got on the chart. I think we slowed it all the way down to medium. And he started picking up on it. Like he was like, well, what's this for? I was like, well, this is a manometer. It checks our static pressure, what's pressing on the motor here, the pressure in the duct system. And, he was 25 years old. Like, he was a sponge. I mean, he was trying to learn at least.
Yeah.
And so we go outside. Of course, we got to recover some refrigerant because it's overcharged. Had he have, we had a like a 0.8 or a 0.9 on the return. So
I was going to say, what did you end up getting it dialed down to static wise?
Like a 0.7.
Right,
just
on
slowing
edge.
the blower down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we could do. The 10-inch, the 10-inch flex was crushed all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, and I showed him that. And I showed him how, what the problem was. But so, long story short, right? We get it charged up, and I said, now we can charge it. And we got to take the door off the outdoor unit because this is the chart. So then we went over that chart, and it was cool. He took it well. So the next day, I go with another one of their change out crews. Same thing. Awesome job. It was an air handler. I think it was a 2-ton air handler. I asked him if he knew where the speed taps were to slow and speed up the blower. He said no. He didn't know nothing about none of that. Didn't know what a manometer was. This guy trained the guy I went to the day before. So it just keeps going. Like I said, it just keeps going downhill. Awesome looking job. They added a return. Fired it up. Static was high as crap. It was we ripped out a hanging air handler and put in a regular. It was in a little duplex.
Gotcha.
Weird little setup. But once again, go outside. He's got his gauges hooked up. He doesn't take a door off. He's just looking at his gauges and it starts condensating and running out by the unit. And he goes, "Oh yeah, man, we're working now. We're good." I'm like, what does that mean? Like, we can't charge the unit based on if water's running out that pipe or not.
Yeah.
I mean, but you'd be surprised the calls I get. They're like, man, this thing's it's pissing water great out here. Like, it's working.
It's like, well, yeah,
yeah. I
because
mean,
they've not had a
there's
unit
refrigerant
on
in there.
It's like they've not had a unit on in 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, the chart doesn't say 4 ounces of water equals this subcool. Like,
yeah,
there's no chart for how much water is running out of that pipe. Like, that just means we got some refrigerant in the system, and we're pulling some moisture out. But you know, I just think it's funny how I've seen. I mean, my old boss was like that. Is it sweating? No, I'll put some more in it. You know, I'm like, what? Like, what does the number need to be? Is it condensate? Is it dripping water outside? No, we'll put some more in it. It's like, oh, this can't be the right way. So anyway, so we found a filter. We found a filter behind a grill that nobody knew was there.
Ooh.
Not even the homeowners, and it was like a rug.
I was gonna say, I bet that was nice.
So we had a 0.9 on that one when we fired it up. We took that filter out. I said, dude, there's something stuck in the return somewhere. We're struggling. So he went up there, took the grill off, and said, hey, I found the problem. But without a manometer, right, this thing was still blowing air out the supply. You hold your hand up there. It's like, how's your airflow? It's good. I'm feeling it. It's blowing hard, right? But we don't know how much it's blowing. The only way to check that is static. That's it. Or take a temp rise and do the math. But just take a manometer and check the static and check your blower chart, and then we went outside and charged that one up. But these classes I've been given are startup classes, and out of 5 classes, I don't know, 30 something people, I've had 2 people that knew what the manometer was.
Jeez, I didn't realize
That's
it was
not
that
good.
bad.
I had 1 today and 1 in Charlotte. That's not good, man. That's a terrible percentage. That's just not good.
So far I've only had one of the companies in Charlotte reach out about tools, at least getting pricing, because I sent some pricing out this week.
Yeah, I mean, I told them, I said, look, that's another thing we found out, right, on the distribution side is why don't y'all have this tool and that tool, which some of these supply houses do, but
the majority don't, because
we can't compete against Amazon. Like, almost every tool I own is from Amazon. Like,
and we can
plug Amazon on here.
Well, and we can drop ship tools too. We can't drop ship them as fast. We just can't.
Yeah, I mean, I would pay more if I walked out of a class. I think that's when I bought my manometer. I went to a class, probably the 3rd year I was in this industry. Went to a class. He had a dual port manometer, fill piece, and he was reading static, and he was going over why it was important, and it's everything, literally. And I walked out and bought one off the counter there, and I didn't care what they were charging for it. Like, I needed that thing.
Yeah. Well, because you realized, I'm going to use this every day, pretty much for the rest of my career. I might want to get one.
Well, I figured out too that I talk about this in that class. Like, in this industry, we get lucky a lot.
Yeah.
Like, contractors, service guys, right? We get lucky a lot. We swap parts that we hope will fix it, and we don't know for sure, but we went ahead and swapped the motor. Well, we'll throw the board on there too. oh, thank God it fixed it. Well, which one fixed it, right? I mean, we get lucky a lot, and I think, of course, my counterpart in Georgia there says you get lucky until you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So, yeah, I think I'm seeing now why a lot of these brands take a hit.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was that bad. I mean, of course, that training class, right, with the running equipment, with the manometer, and then when I close a damper on it and the subcool just hammers down or superheat drops, or every one of them, I ask them, all right, we're getting ready to start this system up. Where do you want to start? And they're like, we got to start outside, because they want to get them gauges going, right? That's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We got to check the charge. I mean, I couldn't imagine how many systems are out there. Well, the company in Raleigh's putting 4 a day in. 4 a day.
Now, do they have... Now, you've watched, 2 crews, and you've got a few more to go back and watch, or...
Yeah, I got... well, they're coming to the classes, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think they're going to let me go watch one more. But, they were brazing with nitrogen, which this class I'm giving now, when I ask anybody if they're brazing with nitrogen, it's just like a smirky little, it's a touchy subject. I don't understand that, though. Like, I don't know what the big deal is, why it's like we always look to cut a corner. I mean, that's in this industry. If you cut a corner and you get lucky, then you won, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
and the problem is, just like old Georgia said, you're lucky till you're not. Just a lot of these guys don't realize they've been lucky for 15 years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when I was doing install, man, I just don't remember having the catastrophic failures that I hear now.
Yeah.
I don't remember having those on startup, like brand new stuff. TXV failed. Man, I got another bad TXV on startup. I'm like, I just don't get it, man.
I had one today, and here's how good it was. Guy had ordered the job, and first off, I made a mistake. So here's sales guy taking responsibility to a contractor. That does happen. We make mistakes, especially if you were taking a call later in the evening and you were distracted when you took the phone call, but you were just trying to answer it to do the right thing. It happens. So he was ordering a job. It was a horizontal application. I thought he said it was in an attic. Part of the reason why is because we had already done one system in this house before, and since he was just doing AC and coil, he made it, or he didn't necessarily make it, but I thought both of them were in the attic. I thought it was dual attic system. So I sent him a dedicated attic coil with a 4-ton AC, and we delivered it the day before. So then this morning about 9:30, I get a phone call. He said, "Hey man, how in the world am I supposed to braze these lines in? These things point towards the floor." And I said, "They point towards the floor?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, do you have the upside down? Because I'm thinking he's got it, lines down in the attic. He said, "No, man." He said, "I'm in a crawl space." I said, "Well, that's why you can't braze it in." I said, "I thought you was in the attic."
Oh, they're literally pointing up towards the floor. I get
exactly.
It now. Yeah.
So
it comes in on the top. Yeah.
Yep. So I said, "Well, where?" I was like, "Where are you? Send me an address." 45 minutes from the store. Luckily, I'm at the store. Luckily, I said, "Okay, I'll bring you a call. My mistake. It's the only thing you can do, and that's, whether I had a driver or not, it's my mistake. I'm not going to tie up a truck to go fix something that's my problem. Um, I'm gonna go take care of the customer and eat crow and maybe bring him lunch too. Who knows? Try to get yourself out of jail. So it takes me about 10 minutes to
So,
wrap up what I'm trying to do at the store. Get that thing in the car. Get down there. It's an hour after the phone call.
ooh,
He's fine. He said, buddy, he's like, we just got here. He's like, we got plenty to do. He said, I said, well, I'll see you in about an hour. So I got there about when I said I would. We get it swapped out. Chit chat a little bit, and then I head back to the branch. Maybe an hour goes by. Phone's ringing again, and all I can think is,
same guy.
Yeah, same guy. And I'm just like, shit, what went wrong? That's like I can just feel it. Pick up the phone.
This one's pointing towards the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Pick up the phone. He's like, man. He said, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what now?
No, I'm not.
He said, TXV won't meter at all. He's like, it's slam shut.
Dude, I get so many calls on that.
So,
and
yeah, I know.
I don't know how to take them. Like, I don't know.
I don't either.
Because they do fail. And I just don't.
They do.
I don't know.
Luckily, this guy's old school enough that he keeps orifices in his toolkit just in case. So he had one that was close. We needed an 80. He had an 88. It was the closest he had. The other stuff was way too small. I said, man, it'll work. I said, you're going to have to fiddle with your charge a little bit, but it's going to work. So got it fixed, got it up and running, and everything was fine. The best thing was the whole time he and I were laughing about it, and that you don't always get to have that. We got to joke about it. I said, but there are those times where it's no joke.
Well, at the end of the day, I know I was listening to an HVAC podcast a couple weeks ago, and it is just heating and AC. I was talking about the homeowner. Like, he's like, what am I going to tell my wife? And we've been without air for 5 days. It's like, I understand, but we're trying to fix the problem. If somebody's not returning your call, or the contractor has ditched you, or we've ditched the contractor, then you got a problem. But if everybody is still coming out there and working on this thing for free, clearly they're trying to get you fixed up. And you start barking like that, that's not going to help matters. That's just not how I am. Like, that's not going to fix anything.
No, it doesn't.
But I didn't even grow up with air. Like, I don't get it. It's 72 degrees outside, and this guy was like 35 years old. Like,
yeah.
Is she pregnant? No. Is she on oxygen or something? Like, am I missing something here?
Yeah.
No, she's hot.
It's like, I know it sucks, but we've all been there at some point or another.
Yeah, come on. We're leaning towards it's life and death. I've had homeowners when I was in the field call me, and it's like, you think they're bleeding out over there. Like, it's not life and death. We're not, essential, disposable people in this industry. It's a luxury. You know what I mean? I think still.
It is.
I don't know.
I still think it is.
But
well, yeah, that
so
I was gonna say that kind of segues us into what we're gonna do our next topic. Some more crazy homeowner stories. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a good one before we leave.
All right.
This poor guy, he's gonna kill me when he hears this. So there's a guy it's him and his partner, and that's the only two. They come to my training classes. And Tuesday he came, and I'm doing time slots, so it's just them two. And we're standing up, we're walking around the equipment, right? And we're in the back of the warehouse. It's quiet back there. And I'm looking at the TV screen, and I'm going through the PowerPoints, and they go and sit back down in a chair. And I'm looking at the screen, and I hear the rip sound of pants. And I'm like, and I didn't turn around right then. And I'm like, what was that sound? That literally sounded like somebody just ripped a pair of jeans in half. Like, and I, and this guy's he's, I don't know, he's in his mid 50s. And I turn around, and cause they plop down back in the chair, and I turn around, and I'm trying not to look down. I mean, I know what happened. I know that sound. I turn around, and I'm looking at him in his face. If you can picture this, I'm looking at his face, but I can see down, right?
Yep.
It's my peripheral vision. He's got on khaki shorts, and I just see white. I'm looking at his face, but I can just see white, like between his legs. And I'm just like, God, I didn't want to bring him out. Like, I didn't want to say, dang, man, you just blew your old shorts out. I didn't say anything. I couldn't do it. I turned back around, started looking at do the PowerPoints. And when I turned back around, he's like leaning to the side, got his knees together. Like he finally figured out he blew the whole bottom out of him. But nice and awkward. If he ever listens to this, he's gonna be like, dude. He got up and I mean, what do you do? We've all been there. Just you just roll through the rest of the day like that, I guess.
I had to, let's see, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I had to go home in the middle of the day because I ripped the middle of my khakis just walking in the warehouse.
Yeah, they're good till they ain't.
Nope. That's right. Oh, jeez. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We could do this all night long because I love listening to your stories, but we got to have some more episodes to post. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Also, Zach, when you hear this, I know earlier today I asked a broad question to a group of people about their favorite 80s and 90s movies, and you never answered. So because of that...
Oh, he's a movie guy, too.
Yeah, so because of that, somewhere in this episode, I dropped a really, really good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line, and I hope you find it.
I didn't catch it.
I hope you guys find it because it's great.
I'm about to listen back. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna put some kind of soundbite in there. All right, appreciate y'all.
Get the clip.
Yeah, maybe. We can actually find that, and somebody will sue us for it somehow.
Probably
Copyright infringement. All right, see y'all next time on HVAC R&D.
Later.